I thought it would be a good time to have a catch up on the daily tubers that we set up earlier in the year. And here you can see them, they've been soaking overnight, and this is March. I don't have a greenhouse, I don't have any heat at all, so I have to sort of leave things till I think I can get through without too much frost damage. But you can see there's a wide range of shape, sizes, and even the condition with some of them. And one of them, the David Howard, looked as if it was completely dead, of no use at all. But being a gardener, we have patience, we want to push plants through, and we set them up. And here you can see later on they've been potted up. It's March the 20th, and some of the shoots you can see look a bit pale because they've been lost inside the bag itself. But I set them outside, and within about a month or so, you can see that the shoots had greened up and began to progress. And here we can see them after a couple of weeks. And it's quite disappointing, really, because the David Howard, only one is broken and it's got a short, stubby shoot. The middle one, Franz Kafka, was slightly more vigorous, but you have one really strong plant and one not so strong plant. And Arabian Night on the end, they look absolutely different. So here we see a close-up of the David Howard. And the David Howard on the left is the one that looked really shriveled, hanging by a thread. But we pushed on, see what we do with it. And I'll try and do the best I can with the David Howard on the right. Hope it makes up, and perhaps we can get another plant from that for next year. It's the best we can hope for. Once again, the irregularities are displayed here. You can see this with the Franz Kafka. The one looks very strong, the one looks very weak. So one's got to be right and one's got to be wrong. It could be two different plants. You have to wait and see. So we'll have to grow it out just to see what happens in the end. So I've decided not to take any cuttings this year. We'll just grow the plants on and see which one's true to type. And if they both are, then we'll select the strongest. But you can see this one is quite vigorous. It's really pleasing. It should all be like this, really. But I say you wouldn't take a cutting from that now. It's far too late. The stem would be like a drinking straw. It would be hollow in the middle, and the plant wouldn't produce any roots at all. But as I say, before I plant them out, I will pot them up into a slightly larger pot just to produce the root system on them. But I shall grow them entirely in pots this year. I won't plant them out in the garden. It may prove to be a complete waste of time. And here we're looking at Arabian Night, and you can see there's a really remarkable difference in the two plants. They look the same, but the vigor of one far exceeds the other. But we'll grow them just the same, see what happens. And you can see this one's is the smaller of the plants, and it's producing lots of little shoots. That if it was early in the season, we could use them as cuttings, but we let that go now. And the other plant is really producing quite a strong single stem, and it's at the expense of everything else because you can see how dwarf the other shoots that are coming from it. So what I've made my mind up to do is just to grow this on, and you can say just had a simple support system using a closed peg, because if you let them go around, the stems are quite fleshy and they will just snap, and that'll be the end of that. But I'll exchange the peg for a piece of soft twine later on, and when we plant them out, we'll pinch the tip out to encourage them to branch. And here we move on to the Bishop of Llandaff, which is chugging along. It's always a little bit of a slow starter. You can see you've got some very thin, weedy shoots coming up. These could be taken for cuttings if we wanted to, but as I say, once again, it's just too late in the season now. We'll just let them grow. But each year the tube gets a little bit bigger and a little bit bigger. But the thing to remember with Dahlia tubers is that no matter what condition they look in, there's always some sort of glimmer of hope there somewhere. They will break for you if you persist with them. The most vulnerable time is spring with the frosts. And here you can see the class of 22 getting ready to go. And it saddens me to see the David Howard in the condition it's in. But what's this? I went away for a couple of days, came back, and the plants themselves had been outside. I let them grow on. And I suddenly noticed, looking at it, there was a little green shoot on the David Howard. And you can see it there just coming into focus now. So hopefully it's going to produce some sort of plant for us. We'll nurse it along, and who knows, there could be a crock of gold at the end of the rainbow. We'll just have to wait and see. Diolch, and thank you for watching. Goodbye for now, but if you would like to see any more, please hit the subscribe and like buttons.